Greetings and welcome to our Stratasys Medtronic webinar. Our topic today is 3D printing as a medical innovation platform, and we are joined by two experts in the medical field sharing their thoughts on 3D printing in the medical industry. Our first speaker will be Scott Hansen. Scott is TDS Design Manager for Medtronic. Our second speaker is Michael Gaisford, Director of Marketing for the Medical Solutions at Stratasys. We're glad to have both of these experts with us today. And without further ado, I'm going to transfer the presenter role to Scott. So good afternoon, Scott. Welcome.
All right. Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk a little bit about 3D printing at Medtronic and our medical outcomes relative to that. My name is Scott Hansen. I am the Technology and Development Lab Manager for Therapy Delivery, and we AKA call our lab the BAT Lab. Now, the lab is all about full product life cycle support system. We basically support everything, but we actually do not do any production. We develop brand new technology, product development activities, many special builds and unique builds that are asked of us from engineers. Also, we do a number of different post-market, either testing, builds, etc. And a lot of the things that we do and develop end up in production. And what did we ever do before 3D printing? I'll tell you. It seems like a long time ago, but we used to do a lot more theoretical thinking, and when CAD came out, 3D modeling was fantastic. We were able to actually see something on the screen, spin it around, look at all the different interfaces. But what did we most want to do after that? We wanted to actually make it as soon as possible and get something in our hands. And we tried to make it out of foam, all kinds of different other materials, try to machine something out. We tried to do something as quickly as possible. And one of the bigger things 3D printing has actually really done for us in saving a ton of time is actually in the injection molding area. A lot of our components are injection molded, and it takes, 6 to 8 weeks sometimes to get your first shot. And what you're able to do with 3D printing is actually mold the insert, let's say basically a mold insert, put it in a mold cavity, and be able to shoot some parts basically next day, and you'd be able to actually resolve a lot of issues by having some early prototype examples of it by using 3D printed molding. And instead of actually using the monthly calendar, because my boss would ask me, Scott, how long is this going to take? And if I had injection molded parts in my product development cycle, I'd be like, oh my goodness, this could be 3 to 6 months before I get the first one. It could go like 2 or 3 different iterations before I actually have the right one. And I look at basically the calendar from a monthly standpoint and keep turning the page, and then finally, I give them the real news. But now with 3D printing, I'm actually able to do a development cycle with just the weekly calendar and then just one iteration basically of sending it to the mold shop, and they only have to make it once. It's fantastic. And why did we actually dive in and invest in 3D printing? Well, a lot of our engineers, such as myself at the time, were outsourcing it quite a bit. We have a lot of smart people here at Medtronic. We have a ton of CAD experience. Stratasys has done a really good job from a user interface standpoint. Seemed to be like a pretty simple user interface so that we could actually run the machines, we thought. And of course, there was no real special handling of the polymers, especially for the polyjet materials that we had to do. It was a very lab-friendly environment we could be in. Plus, we'd be able to keep our intellectual properties a little bit closer to us. So a lot of people have a lot of brand new ideas. They'll actually model them up. We'll actually print them so that they can continue that concept development and idea development. We also kind of can keep our secret sauce on how we do things internally versus just, if we have, let's say, Stratasys Direct or somebody else, some outside vendor actually printing our stuff, and you give a tour to everybody, and somebody kind of walks by and sees some of the stuff and recognize it, and they kind of pinpoint it towards Medtronic and go, oh, that's how they do things. So we can kind of just basically avoid those types of issues all alone by having all of this brought in internally, and we're actually developing the technology to be better used for our purposes specifically. And the machines are not really all that expensive. and they're very affordable. So we decided to actually jump in and buy one. And what were the big things that we were looking for in a machine? Obviously, you guys know all of this. This may be a big review for you, but high part resolution, very reliable machine. It needs to print relatively quickly. Quickly, that's a relative term, so how fast is fast enough? I mean, if we're able to actually print, one part and get it the next day, that's pretty good. There's other printers that can print really fast. Even these objet printers can print small jobs relatively quickly, and we can probably turn 2 or 3 different jobs in one day. Also, the big key is that these objet printers, PolyJets, are actually very lab-friendly and very intuitive and very reliable, which is a real big key. We don't want to be able to have a machine that keeps breaking down all the time and having the service guy come out. I mean, that just really drags everybody down. And also, we did interview a few other people about their customer support, and it was actually, we got some really good feedback, and it was outstanding. So what did we do? We bought a Stratasys Objet 260. That was the first initial one. It was a nice small machine, kind of to get our feet wet. And we had that for about a year, and then we really invested into an Objet 500 Connex 3, where we ended up with 1,000 different materials, and we were able to actually print in color. That thing really turned us around quite a bit for all the different engineers. And then we ended up trading in our 260 for an Objet 350. It was a Connex 2, and we're due to have that upgraded to a Connex 3. So now we're going to have side-by-side Objet Connex 3 machines, and it's going to be, it's fantastic as far as material changeover and just efficiency. And we just recently invested into a Stratasys F370, which is really the FDM technology, and it's beautiful for our test fixturing stuff. So as far as kind of what goes on with our 3D printers, our printers print every single day. I can't stress it enough. We have multiple orders every single day from multiple different departments across therapy delivery, RTG, and implantables group. And we actually have quite a number, but it's a small percentage, out of house as far as MECC, the Bakken Research Center, et cetera, overseas, and we actually do print for them as well. And year after year, we have double-digit percentage increases in the number of jobs we do. It's pretty crazy nice. And here's an example of this graph we could spend all day on, but year over year, we have 38% growth. Now, back in 2014, we just got our 260. We did a lot of rapid prototyping, components. We did some anatomical models from an educational standpoint just to print some and get our feet wet. And then we got into, when we got the 500, we ended up more concepts, using the color, using all the different types of materials that were available to us. And with all these different concepts, we had to build test fixturing. So there was some unique test fixturing that was expanded on as far as the number of jobs that went up. Then we got into a little more complex engineering things from a human factor standpoint, also developing brand new technology. And just recently, we're working on getting our anatomical modeling development activities, I should say, in order. So we're trying to actually take and produce anatomical models in place of, let's say, cadaver labs, et cetera, and do more bench testing, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Here's a good example of, I had a technician who was developing a brand new technology along with about 2 or 3 different engineers, and the tech put in 40 different jobs for 3D printing, and we kind of took a look at all those jobs, and all of them we could have submitted to our machine shop, and we did a comparison, which figured out exactly the cost of all the different the jobs from a machine shop standpoint, and also the time it would take relative to what it really costs from a 3D printing standpoint. And we saved a total of $54,000, which, that's a nice hunk of change of being able to have a savings to it. But the biggest thing here is we saved 173 days in development time. I mean, that's massive for R&D. I mean, that's everything that we want to do, is be able to build something, develop something much quicker, faster, and be more robust. And that's exactly what this technology delivers for us, and that's a prime example. And you could take that 40 jobs and maybe extrapolate that as well as the dollars and figure out kind of how much it would cost to, on a return on investment, how much it would pay for, let's say, an Object 500. It costs about 350 grand. Well, it turns out to be about 250 jobs, just from a money saving standpoint. But if you look at the time saving, over 1,000 different days you'd be able to save relative to all the different machine shop jobs that you'd have to submit. That's something else. So as far as how much it's impacted Medtronic's business, you can see our value chain. You know, we actually are able, like the previous example, facilitating technology much quicker, faster, and also from a component standpoint, we have much more flexibility now that we have the 500,000 different materials, color. We can actually produce a number of different components quicker, faster, build and iterate, you know, in a much quicker, faster, and it builds momentum versus actually submitting something, let's say, to the machine shop, and then you got to wait a couple weeks, and then you just sit and wait, and then you finally get it, and then you run with it. This is able to actually keep the cadence going and your development activities continuously moving, and therefore you end up saving time and money. And also, with all that, you end up with new fixtures, and especially if there's any issue in the market, you're able to actually respond relatively very quickly and jump on it and be able to help resolve those problems as quickly as possible. Here's a great example of just rapid prototyping. The challenges that we have all the time for, let's say, molding and packaging in the upper right-hand corner is a thermal vacuum form tray. Well, we're able to actually print one out with the Object 500 versus waiting for a machine shop to be able to create a mold and be able to shoot some parts. And when you actually are 3D printing it, you will be able to see exactly if the parts are fitting, if there's a snap fit feature in there, does it snap fit appropriately, and then you can actually take these trays and put them into the shake, rattle, and roll test for long-term shipping testing and be able to really understand if that tray is going to work long-term before you actually sink any money into capital. And just below that is a set of different types of tweezers, and this is an example of where an engineer had a presentation that he was giving. He said, they told him he had to present at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on brand new concepts on how to be able to grab this little end of a test lead and be able to insert it into a connector. Well, he came up with these tweezer ideas. He was able to actually model it up, and then he sent the model to us. We printed it up. It was done by 1 o'clock. He walked into his presentation and handed out all these different examples. So to say at least they were very impressed. And also there's, on the bottom here, there's a vial of tiny little, you can see parts in there, and there's quite a few of them, and they're kind of ringlets. But on the ends of those ringlets, on the apex of those little spots, is actually a 10,000th hole that was printed, and it actually did it. So I was just trying to show what a nice job it can do on small parts too. Now, we also use 3D printing for custom technology, as earlier I was telling you about, and the challenge is that you bring in this, let's say, a new machine, you're trying to develop it and get this thing running right, and you can't just call up McMaster Carr for all these unique different types of fixturing to get that thing running, so you're able to actually model up exactly what you need, and then we'll be able to print it, and then you'll be well on your way to be developing the correct fixturing that you need to make that technology sing and develop it much quicker and faster. We were able to do that. There was one technology project that I'm thinking of, and it took about a year, and we calculated that if we saved about 2 months because we had 3D printing capabilities to be able to produce all the different fixturing that was involved in developing it versus going to the machine shop. And we're actually still using a lot of those 3D printed fixtures on the machine today because of the material can handle it. Also, we have some really good benchtop testing here. Some challenges would be like functional testing. We got some shipping testing, electrical testing, and I got a great story to tell you about from a shipping standpoint. I was walking down the lab and I noticed there was a number of fixtures being printed, and there was a lot of them. And I was like, well, Chris, who's doing all this? And he pointed to a young engineer that was doing it all. And I approached her and I asked her, and I go, well, why are you having us print all these? Why don't you just go down to the machine shop and have them whittle it out of some Delrin and you'd be good to go? And she goes, well, why would I do that? I mean, heck, I have the material that I'm using here that you guys are printing with handles the environment, hazardous environment that I'm actually, testing them in. Plus, I'm able to actually get the parts tomorrow versus waiting for a couple weeks. And plus, if I all of a sudden don't really have the right dimension on something, I can actually just quickly change it and you'll give me the parts tomorrow. I don't really get that kind of service over in the machine shop. So I thought that was pretty enlightening, since that's what I tell everybody when I do tours myself. So it was really nice to see and hear. And recently we've been doing some preclinical testing by actually printing out a number of anatomical models, pelvic systems, the spine, the skull. We kind of did that from an educational standpoint earlier, but now we're moving into more of a let's model it and use our procedures and try out our procedures with these anatomical models and the different variations we can have with them, and see if we can't learn something rather than having to go take time to schedule a cadaver lab, the expense of a cadaver lab, and all the different other people that have to be associated with getting a cadaver lab and bringing all the people there, doing the testing that you want to do, and then you find out that you need additional testing. However, we'd be able to do this on the bench, be able to iterate, and be able to configure any anatomical model, let's say the bigs and the smalls, the variations that you want to see, the unique situations that people run into. We'd be able to print that, learn it on the bench first, and then use cadaver labs as more of a validation or a verification effort versus a development activity. Here's an issue that we had in the field, and I happen to be directly involved with this. We had, unfortunately, we launched a product with a cable, and the cable actually was failing at an unacceptable rate, and they asked me to go and fix it. So I figured out exactly what was wrong with it, and you can see there's a little red circle right by, there's a little ribbon cable along with the strain relief. It happened to be failing there, and I was able to figure out the root cause of it. And then once I was done finding the root cause, I was able to actually attack it with a number of different ideas on how to fix it. And I was using 3D printing to be able to not only model it up and then have it printed, then I'd actually be able to flex it and actually functionally kind of test it as well. Because the first thing I did was replace the ribbon cable, made it a round cable, and then that gave me the idea to be able to go with a conical tapered strain relief, and I was able to dial in exactly the type of stiffness or flex that I really wanted. And on the other end, I didn't have the ability to freely have these things split apart because the cable was round, so I had to redesign the other end. I came up with 4 different configurations, and I was able to actually narrow down the design selection. Because of all 4 of those, I was able to print them in tangle, replicate the flexibility of each one of them, and I was able to move forward and being able to send these to the distal end right here and also the proximal end, went to the machine shop, asked them for 2 molds. They were able to build the mold. I was able to put it in production. We qualified it and we launched it, and you can see the final cable product on the far right here. And most importantly, there were no failures at that juncture whatsoever again, and we were able to get back into the market a few months earlier than expected, and we were able to regain the confidence of our customers. Fantastic. And we were able to do that. We wouldn't have been able to do that without 3D printing. So that's a huge success story there, if you ask me. And as far as our layout, here's the layout of our 3D printing. We have both our 2 objects kind of side or just across from each other. And then just in a room just adjacent to that, we have the cleaning. We have the jet cleaning and also the soluble support cleaning system. And we just recently got the FDM 370, and we're putting it in with the cleaning system, and right next to it is the parts washer itself. Now, we have actually designed up our own display system because 3D printing has been so popular and so successful that we really wanted to put together a nice display, not only for our internal customers, engineers, and people like in Medtronic, but also for physicians that come through the lab and everything else. So we want to make sure that we give a good cross-sectional example of what we 3D print at Medtronic. And also it gives a great example for all the people that actually come down and pick up their jobs, because we don't actually just do the 3D printing and then mail it to everybody. We actually have them come down and pick up their parts, pick up their 3D printed jobs, because that gives them the opportunity to be able to see all the different types of things that we do 3D print, and they can actually ask about the technology, how the job went, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it's a good learning on both ends. So in summary, we've been able to actually incorporate and bring 3D printing into Medtronic, and we have been very successful over the past 4 years in really being able to spread it across all the different engineering disciplines from a product development standpoint. We're accelerating projects like crazy, and we're also creating more robust designs moving forward. And that concludes my part of the presentation, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to let me tell our story, and hopefully this benefits you in some fashion where you'll be able to get hooked as well.
Michael, we'll turn the presentation over to you to talk about unlocking innovation and accelerating progress with 3D printing. Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Cheryl, and thank you, Scott, for providing all that insight into how Medtronic's progression on the experience of gaining 3D printing, all the new applications you've developed, and how you've really experienced it and embraced it. I think your presentation really speaks volumes for the opportunity for 3D printing to change the way medical devices are developed, tested, evaluated in the field, and even produced. Stratasys has been the global leader in 3D printing for over 2 decades, with over 1,200 granted and pending patents and 30 technology and leadership awards. We really pride ourselves on building technologies and innovations that enable our customers to do new things faster and better. There are 2 primary technologies that we've deployed that Scott has done a good job of summarizing how Medtronic has been applying them. The first is the PolyJet system, and this is a system that is really unique in the market in its ability to recreate multicolor and multi-material capabilities all on a single printer and even within a single print. So the ability to create full color prints in order to replicate very distinctive anatomy, for example, or to create models that are soft and hard combined so that physicians can perform procedures on those models. We also have the ability on the PolyJet system to print 3D printed injection molds. And these molds are much faster and much cheaper to develop than your traditional steel injection mold, so it allows for greater innovation and iteration for that application. And finally, the high resolution of the PolyJet printers really allows it to replicate fine features and fine details, not just on anatomical models, but really on prototypes and other applications as well. You're able to print at a 16-micron layer level, which is very high resolution and fine features. The other technology platform that we developed is the fused deposition modeling. And on this platform, we really harnessed the characteristics of high-grade thermoplastics and brought them into the rapid prototyping lab. We can access from your simple ABSs to polycarbonates, all the way up to space-age technology like ULTEM. So really a range of very high-grade thermoplastics. And what this does is it allows you to create parts that can be used in a functional way. So your prototypes can be used in a functional way to gather performance feedback on them again, rather than having to invest in traditionally manufactured parts. We also have a range of biocompatible and sterilizable materials within this platform and on the PolyJet system as well, if that's a requirement for your manufactured parts. And when we look at the medical device space and the opportunity for 3D printing, we really see a convergence for additive manufacturing to accelerate the two key elements, which is to allow medical device manufacturers to create solutions in a more economical way, but also to create devices that are having better outcomes and better, more patient impact. And we see this really throughout the medical device development value chain. So Scott gave a number of examples, starting with R&D with rapid prototyping to be able to create prototypes fast, quickly, iterate on them to improve your designs in a cost-effective manner. And then when you get to the preclinical evaluation phase, you can replicate patient-specific pathology and test your devices on those patient-specific pathology to get performance feedback quickly, avoiding the cost and complexity of animal and cadaver labs. We also have the ability to manufacture additively to create parts that otherwise would be prohibitively expensive to create the production tooling. With tooling-free manufacturing with 3D printing, you're able to do a lot of devices are now economical to manufacture that might not have been before. When you bring a product to market, you need to educate and train physicians, and again, you're able to create engaging simulations and models that physicians can train on and have a robust, clinically relevant experience without, again, having to go through the expense and complexity of an animal or cadaver lab. Just do it in the physician's office. And then finally, to create patient-specific solutions using the ability for 3D printing to economically create one-of-a-kind patient-specific parts. So in summary, we see really high growth and engagement from the medical device community with our 3D printing solutions because of the ability for the technology to accelerate innovation, do it in an economical way, but in the end, most importantly, to help create technology, products, and solutions that improve patient experiences and patient outcomes. With that, I'll turn it back to Cheryl and take some questions.
Great. Yes, we had some questions come in during the session. We'll start with a question for Scott. The first question we have is, to complete those hundreds of jobs that you talk about that continue to grow year over year, what kinds of manpower is required to keep that lab operational?
Actually, believe it or not, really, I've only had one person. His name is Chris Canton, and he's been phenomenal. He's been able to help not only assess exactly what type of technology would be best for us, but he's actually been our 3D printing expert ever since we started with the Objet 260 and added the 500, the 350, now the F370. He's running all of those machines all by himself, and that's really a test to really how, from an ease of use standpoint and user-friendly, that these machines are.
Great. Mike, a question for you. For injection molded parts, are 3D printed molds an alternative to steel molds for full production?
That's a great question. So the parts that you're able to, or the molds that you're able to print using our PolyJet system with digital ABS, they're able to print, depending on the part, 30, 50, 100 different parts before they fail. And so really the opportunity with the injection mold is not for production, but it's for the development. And we hear a lot of applications where a device, a part needs to be quickly evaluated. You need enough of them in order to do verification or validation testing to submit to your regulatory authorities as you are then waiting for your full-time production mold. So you're able to quickly get that the 3D printed mold to get the parts that can be used for the testing, but in terms of a longer-term production solution, you then go to your traditional materials. So it's really about innovation and accelerating some of those steps if you need to quickly validate a new part, a new design.
Thanks for that. Scott, a question for you. When you were deciding to invest in 3D printing, why choose Stratasys PolyJet for that first system that you invested in?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the PolyJet is so versatile in the different types of materials that we could actually print with. You know, as the Tango is the very rubbery stuff, and then all the way to Vero and ABS with heat-resistant stuff for so that we could actually do some injection molding inserts. So there was, the reason we did it was PolyJet, and it was kind of easy because just the versatility of all the different materials and all the things that we thought we could actually just print and use. And then when we actually got it in, we actually found a number of other uses, and it just exploded. So it was a very good choice for us.
Great. Mike, a question for you. Are materials that are tested, are they ready for biocompatibility?
Yeah, so the materials that we have been tested for biocompatibility on a couple of levels. That we've been able to demonstrate long-term skin contact, so up to 30 days skin contact for several of our materials, both on the FDM and the PolyJet side. And we've also demonstrated short-term, so less than 24-hour mucous membrane. They're not ready for implant, and so that's really, we don't have the testing to demonstrate that, although some of them may be able to achieve that when tested. Right now, the testing is really confined on the biocompatibility to the skin contact and the mucous membrane short-term.
Great. We have time for one more question as we finish up our session. I'll end with a question for you, Scott. In transitioning from using machine parts to 3D printing, are there different skills or knowledge needed by the engineers and designers that use those 3D printed services?
Well, I would have to say no. I mean, it's the thing is with 3D printing, I mean, you're able to actually make all the different prototypes with the 3D model, the CAD model. However, I think you just need to be a little bit more creative in exactly kind of the application, such as Mike gave the example of a tortuosity for a testing standpoint. It's impossible for the machine shop to actually manufacture that or whittle it out of plastic. And 3D printing can actually, it makes those things just like any other thing. So it can actually make things that are impossible to machine. So you need to maybe have your engineers just think out of the box a little bit more on exactly what type of things that they can really possibly do. The solutions are a little bit, there's more of them.
Making the impossible possible, it sounds like. Thank you both for your time and sharing your knowledge today with our audience. A couple of things before we close. We want to keep that conversation going with you around use of 3D printing in the medical device industry. So there's a couple ways you can keep connected. One is by subscribing to our Medical Innovation newsletter. And you can find that on stratasys.com/industry/medical/innovation series. The second way is we have a medical solutions page that's available if you want to learn more about how customers are using these technologies in their respective environments. You can visit, again, stratasys.com/en/medical. And finally, if there are any particular questions we didn't have time to answer today and you'd like to have someone contact you to discuss those, you can always reach out to us at medical@stratasys.com. We appreciate everyone's time and attention. We hope you found value in our content. Thank you once again to Scott Hansen from Medtronic and Mike Gaisford, our Director of Medical at Stratasys. Have a great day.